This is thoroughly independent of all of the other coincidences I've told you about Jesus. And it relates to the time of his death. Tacitus goes on, and he says Christus, the founder of the name, had undergone the death penalty in the reign of Tiberius. Tiberius was emperor from the year 14 through to the year 37. So we get a chronological range for when Christ was put to death. It happened by the sentence of the procurator Pontius Pilate. Remember him from the New Testament. Well, he, according to external sources, was governor of Judea from the year 26 to 36. So again, we can know within a certain chronological range when Jesus was put to death using not the New Testament, but external sources. We know from Tacitus that Jesus died between the year 26 and 36. He died on a Friday, as it's been agreed for a very long time, with a constant lot of celebrations of Good Friday amongst the Christians. To die at Passover time means he must have died at the 14th or the 15th of Nisan, according to Passover time. This is not just that what you have in the four Gospels, it's also what you have in the record of Jewish traditions in the Talmud, which says on the eve of Passover they hung Jesus the Nazarene. So Jews and Christians agree on that. Well, in order for that to happen, when could it happen in years? Well, a friend of mine, Colin Humphreys, who's a professor in Cambridge of science, getting together with an astronomer, has written about this subject, and it's come out in a Cambridge University press book called The Mystery of the Last Supper. The basic thing is this, that there are two possible dates for when you can have a Friday on one of those two, 14th or 15th Nisan, in the right period. So we have between these two possible dates of Friday the 7th of April in AD 30 or Friday the 3rd of April in AD 33. The arguments for 33 over 30 are the date of the beginning of John the Baptist's ministry, the length of Jesus' ministry according to John's Gospel, and the behavior of Pilate, who in his negotiation with the Jews really seems very weak, and we know that he was significantly politically weakened in the year 31. So it works better after that date rather than before. So I would conclude that the crucifixion took place on the 3rd of April, AD 33. Now, by sheer coincidence, a thing that simply has not been known until recent decades is this. When we look at the account of the crucifixion in Mark, it talks about from the 6th hour till the 9th hour, there was darkness over the land. We know that there was one possible historian from the time, Thallus, who records that, at least as quoted in a Christian writer. But Peter also mentions in the book of Acts, when he preaches at Pentecost, he says this, "The sun shall be darkened, turned to darkness, and the moon to blood before the day of the Lord comes." He's quoting Joel. Now the striking thing is this. That date, 3rd of April, AD 33, was the date of a lunar eclipse that took place in Jerusalem, visible from 6:20 p.m. to 7:11 p.m. The times are really quite precise. That's been calculated independent of any date of the crucifixion. It's something that's worked back from astronomy. Now, during a lunar eclipse, of course, the sun, the sun can't shine directly onto the moon because the earth is in the way. And that gives the moon a reddish view. Now, this is just, if you like, and it's not the icing on the cake, but it's just one more coincidence associated with Jesus of Nazareth. Something that's only recently, in recent decades, been calculated by scientists, that as the crowds were waiting to eat their Passover meal, they would have seen this very peculiar thing go on. So when we look at the person of Jesus, what we see is not that the resurrection is some horrible thing that spoils the pattern of science. Even this eclipse, all sorts of things cluster together in a remarkable way upon Jesus. And it's at that point that you say, oh no, Jesus isn't spoiling the pattern by if we believe that he's raised from the dead. Rather, he is the pattern. He is the meaning of life. He is the ordering principle of knowledge. This is what John's gospel begins by telling us. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and that Word became flesh. The ordering principle of all things has come amongst us, and we, if we have at all scientific minds, we should be thinking, yes, that's the pattern, that's the ordering principle. And that's what I'd like to leave with you tonight. Thank you so much for listening.